Toby? So what we're going to be doing today is going to be real casual. I'm going to show you guys what you can use. And then we will actually go into that application and figure out how we can use it. And it's kind of surprising how simple a lot of this can be. So using AI to market your listings, going through the spiel. Cassandra, I don't know if you've been in one of my classes when I've said this yet. This is not me. This is an AI generated headshot. And in fact, the original photo, my blazer is khaki. So then I used AI to turn it into a royal blue to go with Remax's colors. So just a reminder, you're going to see this a lot, but there's still a few agents that have not seen this notice yet. Toby, this doesn't apply to you being out of the Danville office, but for our Nicholasville and both of our Lexington offices, this is the new broker email, the license, the KREC license number you'll use on your documents on dotloop. So we can use AI in real estate for so many different things. I know you're probably aware of using ChatGPT for writing listing descriptions. I've used ChatGPT to write an about me that I could specifically send to potential referral agents in different parts of the country. I use that in my bio on all the different websites. I've tried to sign up to have accounts on all of them, realtor.com, Zillow.com. I want anywhere that the consumer is out there looking for an agent to be able to find me and learn about me. And I want to sound as professional as possible. So I've used ChatGPT for that. You create your social media posts. You can ask ChatGPT to go create some stuff. We're not going to go far into ChatGPT today because I think that's probably that's what Paul's focusing on, and Christy may be as well. So we're going to focus on these three logos here on the side. At the very top, we've got Aragon AI, and then we've got we'll talk about it.
Are these apps for our phone?
So these are apps. I don't believe you can use them on the phone.
Okay.
It would be awfully convenient if you can. I know the Aragon AI headshot one, you can, for the convenience of accessing your photos, your selfies or whatnot. So here are some examples of my Aragon AI headshots. So what I did, and I have an iPhone, so my iPhone automatically puts all of my selfies into one album in my photo album. So I was able to, on my phone, go to Aragon AI, send it 6 or 7 examples of photos of me, and they sent me back 100 photos that I could potentially use. Now, with that being said, it's not always perfect. The photo on the left here shaved about 50 pounds, which, I might print that off and put it on my refrigerator for inspiration. The one in the center, if you look real closely, it's like my right arm is growing out of my left arm. And like it's got my fingers bent all funky, so it's not always perfect. And I realized that the photos that I must have submitted of myself, I was not like smiling with my teeth. So every photo that it sent back of me with my teeth just creeps me out. Like it's just like, I hope I don't smile like that anyways. Maybe I do. So we'll come back to this slide. This is just giving you an example of what I paid for Aragon AI to send me 100 photos. And then there's this QR code here so that you can do it. But let's go into Aragon AI. And just to make things fair, what I'm going to do is, let's see, first off, let me add some points real quick so I can go in and do some headshots for my husband. So this is something you'll just go to aragon.ai and you will be able to log in, create an account, and let's see. You create more photos. I am subscribed. Technology is great until it's not great. So. Create more photos, one-time payment. maybe I just click on, oh, okay. So on this last page, you can see all the different types of photos you can do. You know, you've got your professional headshots, dating photos, if you're into that, your Christmas photos, in case you really need your family to look a lot better on Christmas than normal. One of these I saw and I was like, oh, I don't know if that's really okay to do. Passport photos. This one, I don't know that I would recommend using it for your passport. I'm not sure how the government would feel about that. Wedding photos, yeah, all interesting stuff. So we're going to go in. Most of us are going to want professional headshots done. So it's going to ask you some information about yourself. I'm going to go ahead and fill this in for my husband. You will fill it in for yourself. Let's see. My husband, I would say, is probably no, I think he's probably a little bit more large. Don't tell him I said that. So let's see. I would say for him, my husband is in IT. So he's specifically looking for like a LinkedIn profile. What I will probably use is a business casual. Oh, I can choose all three. So that's what I'll do. That way he's got a selection that he can choose from what he prefers. Because he works in IT, I'm going to go ahead and uncheck nature. I'm going to uncheck. No, we're going to stick with city, office, and studio as being the background options for our photos. Now, I will say I'm going to go ahead and upload the files of my husband. Aragon AI does take a little bit of time to generate these photos and get back to you. So we likely will not be able to see the results. But I wanted to show you guys examples of, let's see, just an example of how you would go in and upload it and how simple it really can be. So we went in, said we wanted to do some, selected our body type, selected, you know, our race, our background, what type of photos we wanted. And once these photos get all uploaded and quality checked, it'll allow me to continue, and then it'll tell me that they are working on the photos. Wanted to use a bunch of different angles. Okay. So it says you can upload 6 to 10 photos. Let's see. Do you want your headshots to have glasses? Well, we'll do a mix of both because he wears them sometimes he doesn't. And all of that looks about right to me. So I'm going to confirm and submit. And we'll see if they can get it done by the time we are done with this class. Yeah, it's like a party. Okay. Okay. All right, hon. Okay, going back to our presentation. Okay, so this is Aragon AI. If you guys are interested, I was able to get 100 photos for $40.50. I know that that sounds a lot. I will say I've had my headshots professionally taken probably 3 or 4 times. Each time it's been at least $100. And I've liked them exactly once. It was the only time I've ever liked them was with one photographer. I also sometimes I work with a number of models and it's always the same. Even the most beautiful people, when they get their photos back, they're not always happy with, you know, this hair is out of place or things that are not easily fixable. And this Aragon AI really helps me get past the photos I don't like. I can still use them as inspiration, but then I was able to come up with some that were very polished that I'm comfortable using in my business card and all of my marketing. Now, like I said, you don't want to use the one where they shaved off 50 pounds because your clients will see that. Yeah. Okay, so next, virtualstagingai.app. Some examples and reasons why I use virtual staging. Sometimes a home is vacant and it's really just hard for people to imagine what that place is going to look like with things in it. Buyers oftentimes will stand in a space and they'll feel like, oh, this might be too small for me to do what I want to do. It's really hard for them to imagine what that space will look like once they move in. Also, sometimes you get those awkward spaces that you're not really sure what you can do with them. So I've got 2 different examples here. Both of these are listings that I have put up on the MLS. You know, the bottom one was vacant, so I wanted to go ahead and put some furniture in there to showcase that space. The top one, I had actually been told that, because I've listed a couple of townhomes in this community. I had heard in the past, people don't really know what to do with this room in the basement. It's a utility room, essentially. The breaker box is in there, all the communication devices are in there, and the washer and dryer. So to go ahead and combat that with my most recent listing in that subdivision, I went ahead and staged it as an office. I wanted people to get the general idea when they are looking through my listing photos, and that once they get into the house and they're standing in this space, they can think back, oh, I saw a photo, they used it as an office. Virtual staging has gotten to the point where I have shown houses, my own listings, to potential buyers, and I have literally heard them say, was that a king bed in the picture in this room? And it's like, no, well, no, it was not. But yeah, the furniture was not actually in here at all. Let's see. So what I do is I pay a monthly subscription. It gives me 20 photos per month. I pay about $28 a month. So, and let me go back because I want to show you guys something. There is something that's important as far as using virtually staged photos in the MLS. It may be hard to see, but right here in this corner, it's actually got a watermark on it that says that it is virtually staged. If you are uploading virtually staged photos to the MLS, it is a requirement that you let the consumer know that it is a virtually staged photo. So the app that I'm getting ready to show you guys actually gives you the option to download your photos with that already on there. Some other reasons why you might use virtual staging is because sometimes people just don't have something very pretty in the space. So using this virtual staging AI.app application, I was able to go in and remove the table, replace it with something that I felt might be a little bit more appealing to the consumer. Same with the bedroom. They were like really in this interim phase. They weren't really staying there, but they still had some furniture there. They had taken a majority of their things. So they just had a mattress on the ground, and that's just not always the most appealing. And sometimes it'll turn buyers off. They'll, without even considering the home itself, they're looking at the mattress on the floor. So by putting in this virtual staging, it kind of helps combat that. So Toby shared some photos with me that what we're going to do is we're going to go into this virtual staging app. I'm going to upload your photos and we're going to work on staging some of them. So I went into the MLS and just saved some of those photos that I felt could be virtually staged. I'm going to just add furniture. Okay. Okay, let's see. And there's a new feature on here that I have not played with yet that I'm going to see if we can't get it figured out. So let's see, we've got a couple. Are these all the living room? Both of these here, Toby? This is a bedroom? Okay. Let's see. Let's go into, this is a bedroom as well, right? Okay. And this is a bedroom? All right. I'm going to go into this one here and see what it can do as far as virtually staging for us. So if you had existing furniture, you would come in here and check this box right here. What it does is it will start to go ahead and analyze looking for the furniture itself. If it doesn't quite get everything perfectly, it will allow you to go in and edit this mask and you can pinpoint, okay, this is furniture, this is furniture, this is not. But because this one's empty, I'm going to leave everything that's in there currently in there. It automatically realized that this was a bedroom, but what you can do is you can do all of these different spaces. You want to go ahead and let them know what kind of furniture you want in there. You can even go as far as selecting a furniture style. Now, with that being said, I don't really know the difference between all the different styles. I get that there's more modern furniture than others. Scandinavian is very minimalistic, as is industrial. There's a lot of metal. I tend to stick with the standard because what I want to do is I want to see a variety of different options. So when I click on process photo, what it's doing is it's analyzing the photo. It's checking to see, okay, what is the best use of this space as far as a bedroom goes? And what's great about this, I'll go into this because I went into this front photo just to see, because I wasn't sure if they did landscaping. Now, they do not. And I wanted to show you this, Toby, because it's AI, it's not an individual. It's hard for it to grasp the depth of things sometimes. So like we'll see odd sizes, whatnot. And I realized that with this, it really couldn't grasp how deep that patio is up there in the front. So it like was giving me all these strange options. Let me see, one of them, it put a table in the front yard because I kept saying, no, this is not it, regenerate, regenerate. So it was like doing what it could. Okay, 20 photos to download. So you can generate it 100 times. It does not count against your photo count. It doesn't count until you go up here to this button and say, download this to my computer. And at that point, it counts as one of your photos. I probably generated this photo particularly probably 100 times yesterday. It's like seeing if it would give me just one nugget. Like, as you can see, it could not tell that that was actually just the block, the lines of the blocks. It thought maybe it was like a resting place. But okay, so I just wanted to show you that. Now, this bedroom, let's go back to it, see what kind of options it's giving us. So it's given us this one. You know, it put the bed the other way, put some furniture in here. And then it faced it the other direction, of course, because it doesn't know exactly where is the door, how much space is where. But say we don't like any of these. Well, we could go ahead, we can like what we like or dislike what we don't like, and it will determine based on that what the next options should look like. So give it a few more minutes and it will create 3 more. Let's see. Sometimes it takes just a little bit. I'd say that is probably the most frustrating part of using this software is just the waiting. We live in a world where we like to see instant gratification, but so it's kind of playing around with the placement of the furniture. And even as we're doing this, if you wanted to decide on using some other type of furniture style, you can change it. No big deal. It doesn't count towards your photo count or anything of that nature. Now, it used to be that you could only virtually stage, bless you, homes that were vacant, but now that they've added the removing of the furniture, it makes a huge difference. I work with a certain demographic that sometimes they don't focus so much on the aesthetics of their home. So to be able to remove something that I feel like is not as appealing to a buyer if they were to see it in photos and replace it with something that looks a little bit nicer makes a big difference. Let's see. So then you've got more of like a farmhouse aesthetic. Do you guys have any questions about this? Let's go and see. I think I took one of the kitchen. Let's see what kind of table space they can put in here. Hey, Janet. I haven't been able to see who's on Zoom. I'm glad you could make it. No, that's okay. That's all right. It's also being recorded, so you can watch it later if you feel like you've missed anything. We are currently going over virtual staging. With Virtual Staging AI app, you are able to remove existing furniture, but also with vacant listings, add furniture that may not be there. So, you know, put a little bistro table in here, or you can go in and put in, what would it look like if if the potential buyer added an island? AI virtual staging, you know, some people might say, well, that's kind of false advertising. I think of it as being more opening the eyes of the potential buyer to what that space could be for them. Let's see. I wasn't a huge fan. I did like the kitchen island. Let's see if there are some others. Oh, another island. I do feel like maybe its placement is too close to the refrigerator. So you would want to go through and look at your different options and select the best one for you guys. The what? Unfortunately, no. Once it's in place, it's in place. So I always just recommend going in and creating more variations. Because as it's thinking more and you're liking and disliking things, it'll make adjustments for us. So, and Toby, what I plan on doing is I'm going to stage some of those and I'll email them to you. So you have them and you can use them. You know, a lot of people will use this to revamp a stale listing. Something, if it's coming soon, they'll go ahead and get their photos taken and go ahead and stage them and use that. But let's see. So this, although it says .app, it is something to be used on a computer. I don't know why. I guess it's similar to like .com or whatnot. Let me take you to the next screen, Janet, because that's a QR code that will take you to it. Yeah. You are so welcome. And one thing that I guess I put it on the wrong slide because I deleted it off another just a second ago. But Janet, when you are using a virtually staged photo, it is required by the MLS that we are letting the consumer know. Perfect. Perfect. All right. So
Hey, sorry, Susie, if I can
Yeah.
ask.
Yes.
I have virtually staged a couple of listings before, but
Mhm.
I never put the watermark on there to say that it's virtually staged. However,
Okay.
the agent remarks, I always put that the property has been virtually staged. So is that still acceptable, or is now
It
the
is.
requirement that it
Yes,
has to be?
that is perfect. As long as you are letting people know. I typically, when I was doing it that way, Meg, I would also include it in the regular marketing remarks. Typically just at the end, kind of a one-liner.
Okay.
Some photos have been virtually staged for marketing purposes.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Thanks.
Yes, you are so welcome. I don't know if you guys have ever had photos virtually staged before, but I used to use
Yes.
Box Brownie quite a bit. They are expensive. I mean, how much is it per photo? $25 a photo. Yet I was able to go in a matter of just a couple of seconds, I had some options that Toby might be able to
They
use.
charge you $50 an hour if you get photographers.
That's a
to do it.
lot. That's a lot. And you know, my photographer is excellent photographer. He also offers virtual staging, but it is also expensive.
Yeah.
And
Cheaper to use that.
yeah, it is. It is cheaper. And honestly, I don't always have vacant listings, so there are months that I don't use it, but it still weighs out for me as far as keeping it. Also, if you are not planning to use it, you can pause your subscription as well. So at one point I paused it for like 2 months, and when I needed it, I turned it back on again. Yes, yeah. All right, so the last thing we're gonna go over is autorealapp.com. There are a lot of different companies now that are offering something similar to this. What this app does, and I was amazed by it, absolutely amazed. Let me show you an example of something I have created. Let's see. Sorry, no, it was me. So this is one of my TikToks that I put together. Yes, but I want to show you guys something in particular coming up with this outdoor scene here in just a second. This video, you see that swinging? This video was created using still listing photos. There was not a photographer on site or videographer or anything of that nature, right? That's really cool. Like the fact that it's zooming in and zooming out, that kind of thing. So let me go in and show you guys AutoReel. So I'm going to go, I've logged in, I'm going to go to my dashboard. Now, I will say this is one that I'm still somewhat learning. And like I said, there are a lot of different applications that will allow you to make these videos. But does anyone in here have a current active listing that does not have a video that you might want one? Somebody just tell me an address. Oh, no. Oh, no.
755 Keenan. It's not active though. It's
Okay.
ready to go active. It's withdrawn.
I have one active listing. I don't have a video on it.
All right, Meg, what's the address?
3364 Lawson Lane.
LAWSON?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So it's telling me to import from a realtor.com URL. So this thing can actually pull the listing photos for you. Yes, you can go ahead and upload them yourself if you have them on your computer, but because I don't, I'm going to go to realtor.com. Okay, can you tell me that address one more time, Meg?
3364 Lawson Lane.
Okay, there you are. So I'm here. I'm going to go up to the URL. I'm going to copy it, take it back to AutoReel. And I'm going to go ahead and import those photos. Sometimes it does take a little bit of time, especially if you have a lot of photos or if they're a really high quality photo. It does take some time for that to populate. And then
What is this app, Susie? What are we using now?
this one is autorealapp.com.
Okay.
Now they sent me a promo code that I can use and share with you guys. The promo code is right there at the bottom. It'll give you it just said free video credits. It didn't say how many. I did verify that it was a plural credits, but in case you might want to try this out on your own, I also believe that your very first video you can play with for free. You don't quite get all of the benefits of having a paid subscription, but there is that. Okay, let's go back over here to AutoReel. All right, looks like it's imported all of our photos. Super cute listing. Okay, so now it's telling me to select my images, and I can select up to 10. And what I generally try to do, because it's AI, I try to really help it out a lot. I want to make sure that the photo I am using is something worth zooming in or zooming out of. So a lot of times, of course, you want to have the front, but I like to use the wide angle of the front a little bit better because I know that when I zoom in, it'll zoom into the home. It'll also, I'll show you here in a little bit, you can decide whether it's going to zoom in or it's going to zoom out. You can tell it what you want it to do. I love this window is the center focal piece of this photo here. So I'm going to use that. I also feel that the kitchen is always such an important part of a home. Let us, I don't know. Meg, do you have a preference for this photo here on the left or this one right next to it? What are your thoughts on that?
Doesn't matter. Either is actually good, I
Okay,
think.
let's do
Either
that
one.
one.
Mhm.
And then I think that this space, this dining space right here is really pretty too. So let's do that. Let's see, that's 4 photos. Is this the primary bedroom here?
Mhm.
Okay, let's do the primary bedroom. Primary bath. I think that's cute because it's also a window that's the focal point. Let's see. Let's see if we can get it to pan across. Is this like a bonus loft area with the pool
Correct.
table? Very
Mhm.
cool. And then let's do maybe this wide angle of this back deck. And then
Mhm.
we'll do this angle. Okay, we'll go with 9 photos,
Mhm.
9 out of 10. So one thing that I am still trying to decide myself is whether or not it's more beneficial to do this in a landscape or a portrait. I think what I have decided is it's best to go ahead and keep it in a landscape. What that will do though is that it will kind of make it look odd if you're scrolling through your TikToks or through Reels or something like that. What I recommend doing is doing it in landscape. Once you download it, put it into something like CapCut. Paul's taught us all about CapCut and all these different video editors to then crop it down to the size you want. And the reason why I say that is I found that once I put it into portrait mode, it goes ahead and it crops everything for me. But then I think it kind of affects the zooming in and the zooming out. But also if you keep it at landscape, if you happen to do like YouTube as well, you can then upload it to YouTube and it works there. So I'm going to keep it in landscape. I don't typically add audio using this. It's got different options. So you can. I typically like to take it to CapCut and choose my own audio. But for the sake of this, Meg, are you okay if we go ahead and put an audio to this?
Sure.
Okay, let's see. I like this first one. I think it's refreshing. I feel like this home kind of has a refreshing look to it. And Meg, of course, if you want to later, you can put this into any video editing software and you can mute it and add your own.
Mhm.
So, okay. And video resolution, let's see, we're going to keep it in 720. It's like, I guess 1080 is still in beta, but I still felt like the quality was decent enough for what I was getting. I'm not going to add any intro text or outro text because that's one that I also like to do on my own. If you wanted to, you've got different fonts and whatnot you can choose, and you can add your own profile picture to it if you would like. I'm not going to do that to you, Meg. You can add your own photo later.
Mhm.
Okay, let's see. But also, if you see right under this photo, right here is this little drop down. I can tell it whether or not I want it to push into the photo or if I want it to push out of the photo.
Mhm.
So this one, I'd really like for it to push in because then it feels like, okay, we're walking into this space. This one here, I want it to push out because I'm hoping it'll start focusing on that window and kind of pull out so you get a big wider view of the living room. The kitchen, sometimes I just base it on, okay, what did I do last? I'm going to do the opposite next. So it's really up to you and how you want to set this up and make this work best for you. So with the kitchen, isn't that beautiful? I wish we had something like that here in Lexington. It's like, oh, maybe we could all go in and buy one. Yes. So yes, yeah, and I'm glad that you pointed that out. It does give you an example of what that means so that you know when you are going in and setting these things, what that's going to do. Let's see, with the primary bedroom, I'm gonna have that one push out as well. So I do have two back to back that are pushed out, and that's okay. This one I'm gonna push out. This one I want to push in. I'm hoping it kind of gives a view of going over that pool table.
See out through the window.
Maybe, yes. This one, let's push out. And this one, the final one, we will push in. So I'm gonna go in and create my video. I do have my subscription that I have of this. I think it allows me to do 1 or 2 edits. So if there is something that we don't care for, we can go in and remove it. We can replace the photo, something of that nature. I've also, before they allowed us to make those edits, I just went ahead, if I didn't like one of the clips in it, I would put it in CapCut and I would cut that clip out and just, just kind of toss it to the side. Okay. So this usually does take a little bit too. So while we're waiting on this, what are some of the ideas that you have that you can use AI in your business? You guys have any thoughts besides this marketing stuff?
Very good. I can spend an hour on writing something,
Yes.
and because I have to have a certain way.
Mhm.
So it just I waste my time a lot.
Try to make it sound right and
So AI kind of helps me with that. I don't leave
Yeah.
it the way it was exactly. I change it more toward my personality, but
yeah.
it really does help.
I'm really excited for Paul's ChatGPT. I didn't know you could do that class. I recently used ChatGPT for something. I took a video of it and the things that I took a picture of it and the things that ChatGPT was able to tell me about that in particular thing was just, it was crazy to me. It was something that I have dealt with for the past 10 years that I've been in real estate. I never knew how to answer a very certain question when we were in a house. And the fact that ChatGPT was able to do it in like 20 seconds, just, it blew my mind, to be honest. I don't get mind blown very easily, but that was one thing that,
No, I'm paying for that. This is the free version. But I wanted to get ideas to do underneath the porch.
yeah.
And then it shot me one, and I've already got a hot tub there. But then I said more for entertaining. So then it shot me
Oh,
another one. for
stop.
Entertaining. That had.
Did it like put stuff into place to give you an idea of what?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's my house, but it showed like the different ways
Huh.
to do that area.
Awesome.
So I don't know if you guys can hear on Zoom. Toby took a picture of her own backyard, the back of her home, and sent it into ChatGPT, and she prompted it to give her ideas on how to fill that space. She already had a hot tub in there. They gave her an option, but then she said, no, I'd like it more geared towards entertainment. So it came up with a different option. Something I used it for the other day is Paul's been helping me put together a banner because I'm sponsoring our neighborhood swim team. And it just felt like there were things that were missing. Paul gave me some great ideas on things that it needed to include, but I still had some blank spaces that I felt like I needed to fill. So I took that banner and I put it into ChatGPT and I was like, this is what I'm doing, sponsoring a neighborhood swim team. I'm a real estate agent. I like to think that I'm fun and, quirky and that I want people to know that I'm very supportive. So it took my image and then it went ahead and gave me some ideas. It did say, why don't you put a slogan? Why don't you think of a slogan? Here are some options that you can add to your banner. And then it even showed my own photo. This is where I would put your slogan. And like, it kind of moved things around a little bit for me. Now, I will say the graphic that it spit back at me was not the exact same thing I had done. Like I put in our crocodile logo and what it sent back to me was another crocodile. It was not our logo, but it gave me some inspiration on, okay, this is what I need to add. I had a QR code in there and it was like, I recommend if this banner is going to be a 3x6, making that banner or the QR code a little bit larger. Like, wow, like all of these things that I could pay a ton of money for somebody in marketing to do it for me, but that's just not what I wanted to do. That's not where I wanted to put my money. My sponsorship was already enough. I didn't want to do a whole lot. But with that, I will say something that I had not considered until I spoke to Paul, that I think it's important if any of you guys are sponsoring, because it's already come back to be a positive thing for me. When you are sponsoring a team, you want to think that your banner is not necessarily all about you. I do realize in my head when I'm at the pool in the past summers, I noticed that a lot of the banners are simply just marketing the sponsor. Yeah, the company. I went ahead and used the team as the main focal point of my banner. I set it up in a way that it can be used almost as a photo prop. You know, I was like, we have been swim champions for the following years,
Yeah.
blew up the logo in the center, left some dead space on the side. So there can be people standing on either side. And then my marketing portion is on the very side, kind of where it might be a little bit, maybe like neck level and below for children, if they're standing next to it, taking a photo. You know, Susie Stewart, Remax Elite Realty is a proud sponsor of, and then I linked my QR code that is to my link tree. So that, and then I've got a little scan to connect with this cute little arrow in case anybody might want to reach out to me. When I sent this banner to the swim team, the response was, this is just the sweetest thing that you put your focus on the kids rather than yourself. And then she started talking about her mom. My mom's thinking about selling her house. I haven't met with mom yet. I sent the banner to her, I think it was last Thursday. So I haven't met with mom yet, but I've been dying to get into this neighborhood that mom lives in. So I think it does mean a lot to teens and to the adults. They will recognize this banner, although it's sponsored, it was not all about her. So something to consider. All right, let's see what this has come up with. Okay, how do I play it from here? Yeah. Cool. It looks really cool, doesn't it? And so something that I've done is a combination of these. Sometimes I will go ahead and virtually stage my photos, and those are the photos I will use in my video. So for example, that back porch, when it scanned across the back porch, it didn't look great. It could have cracked. It could have used some pressure washing. But in this case, you could go in and take that specific photo, virtually stage it with outdoor furniture, and then put it into auto reel. And then you've got this excellent polished looking space. So yes, and the reason why I say that is because this one that I did here on Peacock, one of my favorite parts of this video is this. The fact that it came up, you know, because my photographer did use a drone. But the fact that it came up and scanned and it showed the rolling hills back behind the house, I thought that was really cool. Yeah. But all right, so we're just about wrapped up. So here is that information for Auto Reel app. There's also one other that I've recently heard of that I'm going to give a try. And if I like that one better than this one, I'll let you guys know. I'll let you know what it is. So also just as a reminder for those that are interested in using Canva, I'm essentially doing like office hours on Fridays, 12 to 4. I got to meet with Mary last week and we did some static posts for her so that she can just go in and drop a photo or a review and she can use the same template so it looks consistent in all of her social medias and stuff. So 2 things with this class, with the open hours. I am happy to sit there and we can slowly go through things and I can show you how you can go in and create stuff. Or while we are there, you can tell me what you want and we can work on making that happen. Having you there with me does help. That way I can get your opinion on things. You know, if I have questions on whether you want the new balloon or the old balloon, you know, colors, whatnot, which fonts you prefer, and we can work on them together. Some really cool things that you can do with Canva that I think some people don't realize. You can put all your marketing material into digital format. So with my seller guides and my buyer guides, I'm able to send like a website link to my clients on their phone that they can physically flip through the pages of my guides. And that way they have it digitally. I have not used it for this particular use, but I'm hoping to try it out soon. I have started doing video CMAs for clients. I've got some clients that own businesses. They just don't have a lot of time to sit down. And if they do, it's like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. So I've been putting together video CMAs and essentially letting my clients know kind of the comps in the area, discussing the perks of their home, what I think it's going to best sell. Canva has just rolled out recorded presentations. So when I'm doing my video CMAs, what I like to do is similar to this Zoom, where you've got me talking in a small corner at the top, but the presentation is the majority of what they see. So the fact that Canva is allowing you to record presentations in a similar manner, I think that this is probably what I'll end up doing. I was having to use like QuickTime Player and showing it on a Zoom screen to record. It was weird. So it was a lot of steps. I think this will make it so much easier. Yes, yeah. You know, Canva also will do things like really simple video editing or photo editing. By simple, I mean like really simple. Now, one great thing is you can remove backgrounds. So if you have an AI headshot that you've done, you can remove the background to it if you want to just use the photo. Let's see.
Change the clothes.
You can change the color of your clothes. Yes, I know. I love that. I don't own anything blue, but I really wanted something to match the Remax colors when I did my logo. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go in here and change this. Now, I will say, I don't know how I got that to work because I have tried to do it since and it like doesn't quite get it right. And if you looked really closely at the photo, you could tell there's like some areas where it missed the blue and it's still that tan, but something for like this use, I'm okay with using it. Now, I probably would not put it on my printed seller guide and send it to somebody, but it's nice that that's there. So any printable marketing material, I know with Mary, we did a couple pages of her reviews so she could put it into a listing presentation to take to her clients. So we can do that. Canva will also do social media reels for you. So that it has different templates that you can go in and plug your own information, you can plug your own photos, and it will make a reel for you. So Mastering AI Prompts with Christy is going to be Wednesday, the 21st at 1:30. It's going to be available in person and on Zoom. Paul is not a Zoom fan these days, so he's going to do ChatGPT. Wait, I didn't know you could do that. So if you'd like to be a part of that, you will need to be here in person on May 28th, which is a Wednesday at 11. So all of our AI classes are going to be on Wednesdays. And yes, here is our May calendar. And that's all I have today.
It was the 9th.